Hello, and welcome back to another week's 80s version of the Twilight Zone, and this week we are watching Joyride and the Toys of Caliban. So Joyride, it features this destroyed town, and you can tell that they're trying to project this image because there's like litter on the ground and all this kind of stuff. When they're in the car and we're having wild motions, what they're doing is essentially, I don't know if there's a technical term for it, but we call it Star Trek acting. It's when you tilt the camera to simulate the motion, and the actors will go on with it like, oh. Looks kind of, yeah. If you stabilize it, it looks like that. It's not great. He shoots a cop who manages to grab his face. Now, if you get shot through like the cheek or something, I guess you could do that. But I don't think you grab your face if you get shot in the head like that. And the ending is also kind of weak, where he gets shot. And it doesn't work quite for me. However, the Toys of Caliban does. So, Toys of Caliban stars Richard Mulligan, who we have seen before in the Night of the Meek remake. And he is the dad in this relationship. Anne Haney plays the mother. She was in Mrs. Doubtfire and Liar Liar. Caliban is a character from Shakespeare's The Tempest. It's a very fitting name. Also, Richard Briggs in this. He was Dr. Franklin on Babylon 5. And died tragically far too early. So they swing around retarded as a term that you can just use on people. That wouldn't fly today, but they did that anyway. The rules for Toby's ability to conjure things are a bit weird. So at the beginning of the episode, they show him a picture. I don't think it's even a photo. Yeah, they show him a picture of food, and he can conjure food. So you can, they don't ever have to worry about, money or food or anything like that. That's been sorted. But he can only conjure things that he can observe, right? So the magazine is very, very dangerous because he can then watch something, and he would remember the children from the playground and try to conjure those and stuff. He can't conjure living things, which means that he has to bury lots and lots of scary things outside, like the rabbit, the cat, or whatever. But he does conjure things in the state that the image holds, right? That means that he doesn't conjure the picture of the donut as the donut is now, because that could have been 20 years ago. We don't know how old the picture is. But later on, when he conjures his mother, she is in her true state, which is semi-decomposed. Of course, the danger in this episode, the point of contention, as it were, is that he can now conjure things that he's not supposed to be able to. He meta conjures. He conjures the magazine, not as he remembers the image of it, but the actual magazine, so that he can open it and look inside. Okay. The corpse dummy is nice. It's a really lovely effect. And the end, when he looks at the sun and he conjures that, and you have this effect. Okay, right. If he was to conjure a sun, a star, in a house, it doesn't matter where he conjures it, to be fair, the star is so fantastically big and so fantastically bright and so fantastically hot that he would destroy the planet. Like, no doubt. Now, he could, of course, be not conjuring the sun, but the image of the sun. But even something of a relatively small size that produces the same amount of heat and light will just utterly destroy the planet. It would just flash boil the atmosphere and crash through the crust and mantle of the earth and just sink into the bottom, or rather probably do something even worse. That is, if it can remain coherent without collapsing in on itself. So the physics here just do not work out at all. Yeah, Cat is not impressed either. So no. I think it would have been better if he had conjured a fire, for instance, to kill both himself and his father. I think that would have worked out better for the story, and it wouldn't have left this gaping hole of what happens if he dies, if Toby dies, and if Dad dies. And now there's a sun in the middle of Michigan, just sort of sitting there in a house, just burning on its own. Like, that leaves too many open-ended questions. Anyway, that is the end of the Toys of Caliban, and I hope to see you next week. Take care now.